Hey everyone, it is Saturday, February 10th. Just a ton of college basketball games on tonight. I just had time to kind of go through the major conferences and look at some stuff. I actually have 7 games here. I'm going to run past real quick. First one is Wisconsin at Rutgers. I like the under here. I guess it's not surprising when you think about the two teams, but 129.5, 129.5. Basically a 65-64 game I'm looking for if I'm looking for the under. Wisconsin's not playing their best ball, lost 3 straight games. It's one of those years where their offense has actually been better than their defense, even though their defense has been good, but they're just not scoring as much here recently. 4 of the last 5 games they've actually scored in the 60s, so they've kind of hit a lull here, which is good. Again, going to Rutgers, it was the second best defensive team in the country. I don't expect them to score a lot there. Rutgers just plays better defense at home. That crowd behind them in that gym. Rutgers is under this number more than they're over, and they've been under this number, the 129.5 in 4 straight games. So, again, I don't expect a bad Rutgers offense to do well against a very good Wisconsin defense, and like I said, Wisconsin's just not scoring as much, and Rutgers is great at home. So I think this, I think it stays under the number here. Next game is Virginia Tech at Notre Dame. Virginia Tech is a 4.5-point favorite on the road. Again, Virginia Tech's they're a fine team. It's not what I call a world beater, but they're a fine team. A solid, I think they're 58 in Ken Palm. I think they're right around 60 in offense and 60 in defense. So they're a fine team. But again, this is more about Notre Dame just being horrible. 7-16 on the year. They have lost 7 straight games. Lost 9 of 10 games. The only game they won was against a really, really bad Georgia Tech team in overtime. So again, they're just not doing anything. So again, all they do. They have a bad offense. They play some pretty good D. They have a real slow pace, but just to try to stay in the games. But it's just it's not working out for them. If I don't in those 10 games I was talking about, I think that Georgia Tech game is the only game they scored over 61 points. So, which means Virginia Tech probably only needs about 65 to win. Not worried about it. Like I said, it's a 4.5 points on the road against this team. I'm not too worried. Next game is Virginia. They're actually at Florida State. Virginia is only giving 1.5, so they're just a 1.5 favorite. Florida State is 13-9. They've got a sub 100 offense and a pretty good D, which is how they've been playing. But they have not played as well recently. They're kind of off on they'll win 1 and lose 2, and then win 2 and lose 1. But they just gave up 100 points to Louisville in the last game, which is kind of embarrassing. So they're not really, I wouldn't say they're playing their best ball right now, but again, they've been fairly steady or fairly mediocre all year. But Virginia obviously is a really good team. 18-5 on the year. They've won 7 straight games. During that stretch, there's only 2 teams that have actually scored more than 57 points on them. So again, they're doing their usual thing where they're just not giving up any points. They have the slowest pace in college basketball and the 7th best defense, so that's how they win. Miami just scored 38 points on them, which was crazy. That, with a good offense team that Miami actually has. So yeah, Virginia just giving a bucket at Florida State seems kind of silly, so I'll take it. Next game is Creighton at Xavier. Just looking at the Creighton team total here, it's 76.5. I think they go over. They've been on fire recently offensively. They've scored at least 77 points in 5 straight games, including 85 against Xavier here a couple games ago. They're averaging almost 81, like 80.8 on the season. Xavier's giving up 72 points on the season. Again, so it's not like, again, they've got a nice team, but again, it's kind of a faster pace, or like to think they're top 50 pace, so they're giving up a lot of possessions, which again is great for Creighton's offense. Yeah, Xavier's played okay on the year, but I said they've given up, I think, at least 77 points in 4 straight games. And, of course, Creighton was one, Georgetown was another. So, again, they give up like 90 points to them. So their defense has not been awesome lately. But, again, like I said, their Pacers giving up a lot of possession. So if you're going to give up 90 to Georgetown and, 85 or 86, whatever it was to Creighton last time, I think Creighton hit 77 in this game. I don't care. It's a road game. So I'm not too worried about it. Next game, Indiana State and Missouri State. I'm looking at the over here. Total is 152.5. Basically a 77 to 76 game. I do think Indiana State does what I always say, the heavy lifting in this. I don't think it's going to be they both hit that. I don't think Missouri State will. Missouri State's averaging 71.8 points on the year, but they have hit 76 and 4 of the last 5, even though I think 2 were actually overtime, so take that as you will. But again, I don't think they actually need, if they can get anywhere close to 70, I think we're actually looking good here. Indiana State's still best shooting team in all of the country. They're still scoring a ton, averaging 86 points a game. Put 100 on Valpo last game, which is not really, I guess, not a big deal because it's Valpo, but they just keep scoring a ton of points. Just had that one loss in the conference. Had the 2 early in the season to Alabama and Michigan State, just the 1 to Drake on the road in the conference. So they're just on fire. Other part about that is this is going to be a twofer for me because Indiana State is also a 6.5 points favorite on the road. Again, doesn't bother me in this because they keep clearing it. Look at the last 17 games going back through that Michigan State game. They just have 2 losses, Michigan State and Drake. Of the 15 wins, 2 of those were by 6 points. The other 13 were by 7+. So they're just blowing out teams. I don't have a problem with them actually winning this game by 7 and scoring probably 85 in this thing, or 80, so somewhere around 85. That's my guess based on everything. So it's a twofer. I'm going to take the completely game over, and then of course Indiana State to actually cover. 2 more games. Next one is Evansville at Murray State. This one's actually interesting to me. So Evansville is actually an 8.5 point underdog on the road. I'm going to take Evansville here. Evansville with a weird season. They haven't been very good for a while, but this season they started off hot and just kept winning a bunch of games. And I thought, I'm not really sure where this came from, but this is great, playing good ball. And then they hit that stretch where they got in the conference and they were just horrible and just kept losing game after game after game. And I said, okay, that's probably who they are. Well, they have won 4 straight, so they're back to playing well again. Now, having said that, 3 of those teams are bottom feeders in the conference. The other team is Bradley, who is right now 3rd in the conference. They just knocked them off last game, so they are 15-9 on the year. And like I said, they started really well, but now they're actually playing well again. Murray State is 9-15 on the year. They lost 5 of 6. They're not playing well at all. Didn't have a good season. I think in the last, 3 of the last 4 or 5, I think Evansville has actually held teams to 62 points or fewer. I think 4 of the last 5, or 3 of the last 4 games. But Murray's not scoring as well. They've actually scored 64 or fewer in 5 of 6. So again, Evansville's, not giving up a lot of points, and Murray State is not scoring a lot of points. Murray also has the 313th pace, so again, they like to play these slow games. That's why they don't score a lot of points. They don't give up a lot of possession. So I kind of look as they're supposed to win by 9 points against a team who is better than they are, and they're keeping the possessions down. So I don't see how they're going to have enough possessions to actually get a 7-point lead, get a 9-point lead in this. It's 8.5 point cover. So I don't think it's actually going to happen, so I'm going to take Evansville in this, and I'm going to take the 8.5 points. Makes sense to me. Last play here. Mississippi State is at Missouri. Mississippi State, 5.5 point favorite. This is actually pretty simple to me. Missouri is absolutely horrible. It's that simple. They have lost 10 straight games. 9 of those have been by the 6 points are actually, Mississippi State is actually favored in. So Mississippi State, Ken Palm, 38, pretty good team, 19th in defense. Missouri just not going to score very much. But like I said, Missouri's kind of given up on their season. They're just, getting smacked by everybody. It's kind of embarrassing. But so Mississippi State only giving up 5.5 points, I'm going to take that all day. So it's really just that simple to me. So a lot of plays. It's a big day, and there's a lot more games kind of going on. But I only had the time to kind of go through the major conferences, and these are the ones I like. So if you guys don't mind hitting